What's up, campers? My name is Srogeee, and as you can see, I'm doing something different today. I started building this terrarium because there is a little crested gecko that needs a home. The background, the hardscape is now already done. Let me show you how I did it.
First I applied expanding foam to the back of the tank and waited an hour. After it cured, I carved away the shiny parts to have a flat surface. I also integrated the planter pot to the background for an elevated slot for a future plant. While the foam cured at the planting pot, I also applied expanding foam to this piece of wood that will serve as a hardscape element on the side of the terrarium. As I continued scaping, I positioned this branch that reached from side to side to provide a lot of climbing opportunity for the gecko. I secured the branch with masking tape and applied foam to the contact points. After it cured, I carved away the expanded parts. I integrated a food dish holder into the hardscape with foam and then shaped it with a bent kitchen knife to resemble a stone. After that, I scraped away the residue of the foam from the glass with a razor scraper. The sculpture was finished, so I applied transparent silicone to the foam and covered it with a cocoa fiber and cocoa chips mix for a more naturalistic look. The hardscape is done and looks awesome. Let's use the same technique on the background. To make it more interesting, I pushed bark pieces into the silicone and covered the rest with the cocoa mix.
With the background and the hardscape out of the picture, let me focus on the substrate area and planting of the plants. This little gecko needs extra foliage, so we are not going to be cheap on living plants.
To avoid getting too dirty, I use rubber gloves like Dexter's mom. The terrarium needs to have a drainage layer, for which I use pre-soaked clay balls. It looks like a giant bucket of Nesquik. After a decent amount of clay balls, I evened them out with my hands. Let's make the substrate. I'm using around 2 liters of terrarium topsoil to provide nutrients for the plants. I mix it with about 2.5 liters of orchid bark and a kilogram of terrarium sand. To make it more aerated, I put in some coconut chips and fiber into the mix. I gave it a deep and thorough mix to evenly distribute the parts. To separate the layers, I cut geotextile fabric to size and laid it down. Now I could start shoveling the substrate mix into the bottom of the terrarium. I created a slope towards the back for the illusion of depth. Let's start planting. I prepared the Schiflera umbrella plant by removing the excess soil from the roots. I dug out a little pocket at the back right corner of the tank and put the plant inside it. Then cover the exposed roots with substrate. The next plant is a Petra. I cleaned its roots and situated it to the front left corner of the tank. I dug covered once again. The final plant is a ficus pimula. I did not remove it from its planter because it makes it easier to put it into the elevated slot. This plant will grow long vines and hopefully, with time, reach every corner of the tank. Leaf litter will make the bottom of the tank more like a forest floor and provide food and shelter for the microfauna. I sprinkle in some botanicals for a more aesthetic look. No tank is completed without moss, so I place patches to key locations to soften the edges of the hardscape elements and for a more naturalistic look. Up next, jungle vines. I weave them through the branches for a chaotic but awesome look. Last but not least, to make the terrarium bioactive, I add the colony of isopods to take care of the dead leaves and gecko poop. We can call them the cleanup crew.
Whoa, it wasn't that easy. But look at this. All the hard work now paid off. It looks like a little jungle, right? With all the hardscape elements, the moss, the giant plants, the little ficus pumila, and of course the jungle vines weaving through this terrarium. There's one thing left to be done. The misting. Let's give it the spray down. Smells like the forest, just how I like it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial how to build a terrarium Srogeee style. I'm really pleased how it turned out, and I couldn't imagine a better habitat for my baby gecko than this. Before I go though, I need to turn on the LED light that is on top of the enclosure, because I want the plants to not die out and grow and thrive inside. Looks awesome! Come closer, I'll show you. Thank you guys for joining me on this adventure. I hope you like the terrarium as much as I do. If you think it's awesome, please leave me a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Until then, I will see you again in the next one. Bye, campers!
Shout out to Serpent Design for inspiring me to create this vivarium. Link is in the description.